If it was easy, I'd say, well, here are these pills. These are happy pills, or here's a magic elixir, or here's a certain kind of dance or exercise. If you do this, things are going to be good. It's not how it works. If it was that way, I'd be on midnight television selling it. I'm Greg Van Rybroek, and I have a PhD in psychology, and I also am a lawyer, and I'm the director of Mendota Mental Health Institute, which is a state psychiatric facility. It's really hard to actually hold in your hand something like happiness, and at the same time we want to be happy, and we struggle with what that actually is. And when it comes to happiness, lawyers seem to go to whatever it is that works for them, which is working hard and trying to outthink it. And happiness is one of those slippery topics that just doesn't work that way. It's hard for all humans to actually get their mind around what it is. Human beings are about 4 million years old as Homo sapiens, and many millions of years have been trying to survive, just trying to have food and sustenance and protection. And now we're into the part 4 million years later where we have the opportunity to talk about higher level things. But there really aren't parts of the brain that actually can be pointed to that we can work on with happiness. It's much more of an integrated and complex issue. There are certain guides that we can think about when we are considering happiness, such as doing better in terms of exercise. Well, why is that? Because our brain likes that. And trying to avoid the common things that are problematic, drugs and alcohol. But let's say we do all those things and we still don't feel very fulfilled. And lots of times that has to do with contradictions and problems that we have with how we spend our time. If we are able to do things that are important in the world, but we don't like to do them, well, it starts to create unhappiness over time. It's the steady erosion of trouble because we don't feel any kind of meaning in our life, even though it's important in the eyes of somebody else. So I start to work with people and to talk about, well, what makes people happy generally is they have an interest in something, and if they have an interest in something, they ought to be spending more time on that because they have a greater sense of fulfillment. It's much more than just making a bunch of money. Money is helpful to a certain degree to get some comfort, but these days the research says at about the $75,000 level, if you have that much money, you don't really need more money. And if you want more money, you can get more money if that's possible in your life, but you won't get well-being from it. You have to move into other areas that have to do with personal interests. And if you really, really want to get into the happy world at a deeper level, then we have to get outside of ourselves and think about other people. And that's that. You can say that any way you want, but let's call it altruism. Whatever that means, doing something meaningful that has to do with others that is helpful to them is actually helpful to us. Happiness becomes tricky that way because we like to think it can be chased and caught, but actually it isn't anything that can be chased. And Ecclesiastes says happiness is like chasing the wind. The point is you can't catch the wind. It's not something that we can chase around at all. It's something that actually lands on us when we do things that mean something to us, and it really is the byproduct of how we spend our time. And that's really easy to say right now, difficult to pull off in the daily sense for all people.